This music prodigy received a scholarship to the Juilliard School of Music at the age of 8, refused to play in segregated nightclubs, and was the first Black American to have their own TV show. The darling of Cafe Society, Hazel Scott. Hi, I'm Mary, and this is the Audible PIEcast, an amuse bouche of music history where we showcase the musicians who have sharpened our senses. Hazel Scott was born in the port of Spain, Trinidad on June 11th, 1920. The daughter of R. Scott Thomas, an African scholar, and Alma Long Scott, a classically trained pianist. Hazel discovered the piano at the age of 3 and wowed people with her ability to play by ear. After hearing Hazel plunk out the correct notes on a piano for the lullaby her grandmother sang her at nap time, Hazel's mother Alma set aside her own dreams of becoming a concert pianist to focus on cultivating her daughter's innate talent. Hazel, her mother Alma, and her grandmother migrated to New York City in 1924 and found themselves in New York City's famed Harlem neighborhood. In 1928, Hazel auditioned for the Juilliard School of Music, and at the tender age of 8, she was still 8 years too young to be admitted to the school. However, her mother's fierce determination, and with the help of some influential friends, an exception was made, and Hazel was taken on for private instruction under staff professor Oscar Wagner. In her teens, Hazel joined a jazz band and hosted her own radio show on the Mutual Broadcasting System during the golden age of radio. Mutual Broadcasting was best known for their radio dramas like The Lone Ranger. Fans of the show called her the hot classicist, and she was known for her virtuoso improvisation of the classics. Hazel played Bach, Mozart, and Liszt, sped up and syncopated. In 1939, when longtime family friend Billie Holiday gave up her spot at New York's Cafe Society, Hazel began headlining at the club. Notably, Cafe Society was the first Manhattan club to allow integrated audiences. In 1940, Hazel played Carnegie Hall at the tender age of 20. In 1942, with some Broadway shows under her belt, she headed to Hollywood, where she found herself at odds with the racist tropes of the silver screen. The first 4 roles she was offered were of singing maids, and she turned them all down. Hazel insisted on presenting herself as an elegantly attired musician of considerable prowess. One of Hazel's most notable roles was in The Heat's On. A video from the film of her playing 2 pianos has gone widely viral on social media. It was also in this film that Hazel took a strong stand for the other Black women. In one musical scene, the women were to be dressed in soiled aprons as they saw their men off to war. Hazel argued that the women would be dressed up in such a situation, and in protest, walked off the set for 3 days. She ultimately won the battle, but so angered Hollywood mogul Harry Cohn that he vowed she would never work in film again. While she did not appear in more films, her popularity didn't wane. In 1945, she married Adam Clayton Powell Jr., a dynamic civil rights activist and newly elected congressman. After the birth of their son, she continued to perform, but began to choose concert halls over nightclubs. And in 1950, she became the first Black American to host their own television show. The Hazel Scott Show aired on the Dumont Network. It was a neat little 15-minute show featuring her performances and conversation. Donald Bogle, film historian, wrote, "There sat the shimmering Scott at her piano, like an empress on her throne, presenting at every turn a vision of a woman of experience and sophistication." Her show was canceled after she was accused of being a communist. She appeared voluntarily before the House Un-American Activities Committee. Despite being blacklisted, she continued to work. In 1955, she recorded a trio album with Charles Mingus and Max Roach, which cemented her legacy as a jazz pianist. Hazel Scott was one of the highest paid musicians of her time, and she had it written into her music contracts that her audiences were to be integrated. She was known for her virtuosic jazz piano style and for her success in dramatic acting. But her most enduring legacy remains her choice to use her influence to spotlight issues of racial injustice and champion civil rights. If you enjoyed learning about Hazel Scott, share this video with a friend. And we invite you to subscribe to our channel. We do a new episode of the Audible PIEcast every 2 weeks. Is there a musician who has inspired you? We'd love to know. Drop us a comment below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Charles Mingus, plunk out correct notes. Dynamic Civil Rights Act and newly elected congressman.